come back, but okay, as folks begin filtering in here, I was not originally going to go live this time of day. However, as we talked about before, I got into a live stream that was not my own. And I'm always a fan of healthy debate, civil discourse, and communicating with others. But I got into a debate. The entire forum was liberals, so that's fine. And at the time, there was a female in the debate that was allegedly running for the 2024 presidential campaign. Now, your humble correspondent, yours truly, I don't think she has a chance in hell. However, I'm working, by the way. I'm at work, but I got you guys tuned into my ear. I listen to a lot of debates while I'm actually working. And, I just like to hear folks talk. I'm either listening to talk radio oftentimes. Wow. Jack 8180, I appreciate those. Thank you. I'm either listening to talk radio, a lot of right wing YouTube things, or the Breakfast Club, or some of the liberal Young Turks or something. I mean, that's generally what I listen to all day while I'm working. But then again, sometimes I listen to lives. I'm in Adam Cray's live. Crai, Adam Cray. And there's this woman suggesting that she wants to run for president in 2024. And one of her core campaign promises is to not defund, but quote unquote abolish the police. Talk about a ridiculous idea. So I'm eager to get into the live, folks. I like a debate. She's a liberal. I'm a liberal. Maybe we can talk. Maybe I can kind of work with her to get the understanding of how toxic defund the police was for liberals. I get allowed into the live, and I let the woman know immediately that is the most toxic campaign promise in regards to abolishing the police that any politician, aspiring politician, could ever have. Now, I made the mistake. Again, I repeat, I made the mistake of calling this woman a she, not knowing that this individual identified by the pronoun they. And this individual just blew up on me. I made the mistake once or twice while we're in the conversation. I'm trying my best to accommodate this individual because I'm a liberal. I am 100% a proponent of the LGBTQIA community. I have no problem with that. But I'm an individual. I'm 50 years old. I've been through a hell of a lot of schooling in my life, at least 16 to 18 years of formal schooling, multiple college degrees. Not a single teacher in my entire educational past has ever told me to look at one other single individual and refer to that person as they. I understand the pronouns in 2022 are a hell of a lot different than when I went to school in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. That is fine. I am trying to accommodate this individual. However, I am being attacked for making mistakes and calling what appears to be a woman on screen she, her. This is what I was taught. If you looked at one individual when I went to school and referred to them in the plural sense, you would have got an F on your English. Period. So I'm trying to accommodate this person, and not only is the individual going off on me, but everyone in the box and most of the folks in the comments are also doing that. Not that I'm trying to make fun or ridicule their pronoun at all. It's just simply the fact that I'm a 50-year-old guy making mistakes on how I was educated growing up. No different than how the students nowadays perform their mathematical calculations. If you went to school when I did and you're doing multiplication, you put the first number on top, the second number on the bottom, and you multiply them as such. Modern times, they're multiplying by tens. They're using boxes and all sorts of other ways to come up to the same answer. If you ask someone from the 70s, 80s, or 90s to do a multiplication problem manually, they're going to do it the way I learned. It's not that they think the other way is wrong, but you got to give folks a chance to come to a conclusion that your pronouns are the way of life. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, folks, is that have the LGBT community went too far in defending their stance, their way of life, to the point where you cannot even address them or make a mistake without being attacked. We're going to talk about this. I'm going to ask right off the bat that you tap the screen, get your boy likes up to 5,000. Generally, I ask this to bring more MAGA into the room. But I am going to be talking to liberals today, hopefully, because I understand this is certainly a liberal mindset. Didn't try to ridicule they. I want to say the woman, but didn't try to ridicule they at all. It's just simply a challenge for a man of my years to look at another individual and refer to them as they. Give me time. Going to the box. The White Rose. And Mark, I look forward to talking to you. The White Rose. There shouldn't be a liberal mindset. We should all just respect each other and our pronouns. Matta Keats. Hang on a second, the White Rose. I do respect every single pronoun that an individual would like to be called. However, understand that if you tell me today to suddenly start calling Lassie from your television show, if you tell me to call Lassie a cat, understand that I might make mistakes for a while and call that animal a dog. It's just what I was taught. Give a man time. White Rose, good afternoon.
How you doing? My favorite devil's
I don't
advocate.
even know how I'm doing. I don't even know, man.
Oh my God! Listen, I was there, brother, and I was like, "Oh my God, that was a dumpster fire, bro." They
Yeah.
were really, really not well informed. They just weren't. I mean, I was watching and I was like, "What?" Defund the
Yeah,
police does not mean.
Go ahead.
Defund the police does not mean shut down the police department and the police station. What it means is take money from their $1 billion budget and put it into some social services. That's what it means.
Well, let me respond to that too, because a woman was talking about abolishing the police, and she had a definition for it as well. And I'm going to tell you the same thing I told her. Even if what you're saying in regards to what defund the police is 100% correct, understand that the moment as a politician you say you want to defund the police or abolish
Right.
them, as she put it, nobody's really going to be interested in the definition. It's the
Right.
minute you
Right.
say a phrase that is controversial as that, they're going to run with that phrase. Your definition is not going to be heard from.
Right, right, definitely. It'll drown out. It'll drown out.
Yeah,
Just by saying it.
yeah.
You have to. If you say it, this is the way I think of it. When BLM came up with this thing, right? Because that's who did it. When we did it, right? What
Right.
we didn't do is we didn't explain exactly what defund the police meant, and people just
Well,
took it
if someone,
to abolish the police.
yeah, but
Nobody wants to abolish police. Go ahead. I'm
well,
sorry.
you don't need to, and this is why I go back to my original statement. You don't need to explain what defund the police means, because if I show up to your job, let's say I'm a foreman or I'm a upper level management, and I look at you and all of the folks in your position and I say, we need to defund this department. Nobody is thinking that I want to retrain you guys or anything. You're thinking I want to get rid of you. The statement itself is inflammatory. And
Right. No, I understand.
abolish sounds worse than defund.
Right. No, I understand. I understand. But I think the phrase itself is um
Awful.
I think to people who don't know what it means, it sounds really bad. But they have been police departments that have taken money from their budget for social services, and it hasn't affected the police in any way. It doesn't mean they're going to lay off people. It doesn't mean that they're going to fire a whole bunch of police. No, I mean, listen, I believe in the police, okay? And I grew up in the hood where the police was constantly messing with me because I was a little hood. I'm educated now because I went to college. I got my master's degree. I should hate the police, but I'm like, okay, well, there's some bad cops, and those bad cops make everybody look bad.
Okay.
But there's still some good cops in there that want to help the community and want to do right by us. but it just seems to people when they see these videos online of this cop with his foot in somebody's
Wait a
neck.
minute. Why not? I get your point, and I'm not here to pretend like all police are good or something of that nature, but why not explain that instead of yelling out defund? Defund means exactly what it means. If you ask somebody what is the definition of defund, that means take money away. If you ask somebody what is the definition of abolish, that means end it, as in
No, abolishing.
abolishing
Yeah,
slavery. You can't
yeah,
abolish slavery while keeping some slaves. That's not abolishment. If you
right,
abolish the police, that means you're getting rid of them. you,
right,
but she was what they was attempting to do was spin the definition of a very horrible campaign promise. And
right,
I'm in a room with hundreds of other liberals that think
right.
the idea of abolishing the police is a good idea. And I'm just simply trying to tell that aspiring politician that you're going to lose. You're going to lose.
She
no
listen.
independent, no independent. Hell, even the liberals on the south side of Chicago, where I grew up, particularly the ones that are over 50, would run away from any politician saying that they want to abolish the police. And did I lose you there, Rose? Okay, apparently I lost that gentleman.
No,
But
Looking at the comments, how about we abolish ignorance and the media? Michelle 05. Listen, the media operates on the platform of making money, getting ratings. If it bleeds, it leads. So the media is always going to play ignorant. In fact, I'm working on a video right now where Ron DeSantis is trying to suggest that he was doing the immigrants a favor by sending them to Martha's Vineyard, spending it. Hey, they're wealthy there. They got plenty of money. He was not trying to do them a favor. He was trying to get rid of them. So the media is always going to spin things. But we're talking about pronouns. We're talking about the experience I encountered today from a member of the LGBT community. This is an individual visually that looked like a female, wanted to go by the pronoun they. I am a proponent of the LGBT community, and I'll go back to the box in a minute. I have no problem addressing folks by their pronouns. However, it is going to take some time for me to get used to looking at what looks like a female and calling them they. So I made a few mistakes in our back and forth and referred to comments like she, her, and this individual started using all kinds of expletives to attack me. Not that I wasn't sometimes referring to them as they and them and their as well. It's just that it's a challenge when you're my age to have something change this drastically. I'm asking you folks, how should folks view the LGBT community when they do not give a traditional American, such as yours truly, time to adjust to these new pronouns? Going back to the box. Mark Time. Looking forward to speaking.
How we doing?
good to have you on the program. Mark Tam, good afternoon. Mark Tam, are you? There you go. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
doing great. I used to hang out in Adam's lives. I don't go back very much anymore. Nothing against him. I do. I like Adam. He's a smart guy. Um, so first things first. I just will say that like I think you kind of have a good read on the situation. I understand like not appreciating that and the experience not going well for you. I wish I was in there, but the I think Jasmine is kind of an abrasive person, honestly. I don't. I get it, you know, and the, you know, their need to. See, I mean, I do it. And I accidentally misgendered someone at the grocery store. One of the workers there the other day, and they said, "Actually, I go by this." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and then went on about it, and it was a perfectly pleasant experience, you know, after that. And I think that's kind of how most people deal with it because they're used to it, right? The issue is that when you become an asshole about it, like you're doing a disservice to your cause. And while I appreciate, you know, wanting to get involved in politics, I think you're also right of like this is not the way to do this.
Absolutely.
And one thing I want to slip out there for everyone is that anyone can be an asshole. Anyone can be a little weird, or anyone can be, you know, have a bad day or whatever. Not giving excuses because, like I said, that's kind of my read of them as a person. That they do present as female. You're correct. Misgendering is incredibly rude and ugly when you do it on purpose, and invalidating and dehumanizing. But as you can say, and as I know you as a person, you're not doing that on purpose, and totally valid in like the like old school whatever argument of it's going to take some time, and I think that's totally right.
Because the LGBT community, and I apologize if I get the acronyms in the wrong order or miss something, but the LGBT community is to some degree technically a protected class in regards to conversation. In other words, an LGBT member can say all kinds of things about you, but if you start saying something about them, you can be viewed unfavorably. So I was trying to handle this individual with kid gloves, even though, I mean, she literally was cursing me out. I mean, and not only this individual, but other members in the chat were also calling me all sorts of bitches and all sorts of other names. Now, Adam, just like you mentioned, Adam Cray, the host, I like his lives as well. He has good numbers. He has a lot of dialogue going on, but I was surprised by the fact that he allowed that sort of rhetoric to take place. And then the moment I tried to speak, well, because I was not on the same side as the entire chat room, they talked over me. What's crazy is there was not a Republican or a conservative in sight. I'm a moderate liberal, and everyone else was considerably further to the left of me. So it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder, why the hell do liberals essentially eat their own kind to that degree over this issue?
And there, I vehemently agree with you. We need to be very clear eyed about what the next couple of years is going to look like. And if we don't have our house in order, then something incredibly horrible might happen. Already is happening
Bunch of,
actively.
you're going to get a bunch of teammates from the Cincinnati Reds coming out of the dugout.
Yeah, seriously, and that was actually kind of why I hopped in. I did try and hop in the earlier one, but as you said, it was a short one. And I just when I see stuff like what you have behind you, I see that a lot. You know, I see people who are like, "Oh, they attacked me." People have one bad experience, like, and then that's what makes like conservatives, like that's what makes people switch, is they feel like they got attacked, they had this one bad experience, and then they're like, honestly, you know what, fuck this, like I can go over here and these people will welcome me, because you
You know,
bow to the like the status quo or whatever. And so it's just like one bad experience can automatically turn people because that personal resentment,
but I'll
that.
tell you, though, it wasn't just the notion of having one bad experience. I'm in a room with 500 or 600 other people that are defending the way this person is going off of me, even though I'm making it clear I'm liberal and I actually am trying to. And I called the person they several times. Real quick in the comments, Katie Samantha Love or something said, I think you're arguing about something just to argue. No, this actually happened. There are members in this forum right now that was present when this took place. This is not arguing about something to just argue. This is yours truly trying to, I guess you could say in some degree, help the LGBT community by letting folks know this type of stuff. When you got a guy that's trying to accommodate the pronouns going on, this doesn't help your cause. That's the argument I'm trying to make. Go ahead, Mark.
No, and again, like leftist or liberal infighting, like you can, I think, again, we can all disagree on praxis or degrees of policy. The but where you lose me is where the infighting becomes more important than like the ultimate goal. We are not going to ally with fascists. Like they aren't just going to like, oh my gosh, you guys were always right. Oh, it's fine. I'll start using pronouns now. This, that, and the other thing. Like it's just not going to happen. It's something that takes time. Each generation is more progressive than the last. The only way that you are going to learn how to like effectively use pronouns and know how to take it faster is by practicing, and that's going to involve a lot of misgendering people. And again, like every instance of misgendering that I've experienced has been totally fine. I've never had anybody jump down my throat, and I've never had 500 people support it. So I don't know what to say that what you're experiencing. And I'm sure I still see people in the comments who are essentially doing the same thing. And so again, there is this sort of like the singular use of they is not new. Like if kid comes home from school and says, "Dad, I met my new teacher today." If you say, "Oh, what's her name?" Like that's automatically like judgmental, kind of. You're like, you don't know. It's like, what if? Well, his name was, Mr. Johnson or whatever, and so you become, that becomes like a correction, and so you use like, "Oh, I found this wallet. Oh, what's their, is there an ID in their wallet or something like that?" You can use it for an unknown thing, and so just only recently, I actually looked this up while you were talking to the first guest. APA style changed completely in 2020 to accommodate the singular use of they. It said in academic writing it was, like frowned upon, which is interesting, and we can talk about why at a different time. But you're right, it is relatively newish as a cultural phenomena, something that people, which is why all the idiots in the comments are like, "Oh, I identify as a microwave." It's like, you're a fucking idiot.
All right, Martin, I got to move it on, man. Appreciate you coming through. All
Yeah,
right,
man, good talk.
I
A few folks are telling me that I'm actually still disrespecting the person. Wild Bell 22 said you're still getting their pronouns wrong. And Wild Bell, I appreciate the sentiment. I appreciate what you're saying. And let me make it clear. I am not trying to insult this person, make fun, make light or anything. I'm trying to get the pronouns right. However, I am trying to also get you and many others in the comments that are saying that you're still disrespecting this person is that I've been taught one way for 50 damn years. Give me more than 24 hours to switch over to something I am completely unfamiliar with before you start hammering me. And anyone else, for that matter. Anyone that is over the age of 30 has been calling people him and her their entire life. I understand you want to be called they or poly or whatever you want to be called. That is fine. Give people time to get to your level. They don't know this stuff. Why is that so difficult for you guys to understand? Or they, or whatever pronoun I'm getting wrong this time. There are going to be errors. Imagine if someone, particularly females, that lived to be 30, 40 years of age, got married and changed her maiden name. And the next day she snapped on everyone that called her maiden name because now she's married and she wants to be identified by her husband's name. Imagine if she goes off on everybody that calls her by her maiden name, even though that's what they have been used to calling this woman their entire lives. That is how this goes, folks. We are not used to, as a child growing up in the 70s and 80s, looking at what looks like a woman and calling them something else. Give us time to get to your level. When you become impatient, or God forbid, in the case of what we're talking about, insulting, you push people away from your cause. You make folks not even want to work with you or talk to you or understand where you're coming from. If I deal with a woman that's 70 years of age and she refers to me as colored, I don't snap on her. I don't go off on her. If I want to correct her and say, you can call me black or African American or so be it, I know she grew up on that. Now, it's a difference if you're using something that is specifically meant to be an insult. And by the way, I see the box. I'll go right back to it. Colored was never meant to be insulting to African Americans. The N-word was. The same way if I look at a female and say she, that's not insulting. It never was meant to be an insulting term. I'm sorry if I made a mistake and called you something you don't want to identify with, but that was never meant to be an insult. So the responding method should not be insulting as a response. Don't let the money get to your head, says Juan. What money? Shit. The guy on the front of my money, I don't even identify him as a guy. That's how broke I am. All right. The issue is you refuse to learn and we're misgendering them intentionally and derogatorily. Hey, yo, 210. If an individual is intentionally misgendering or misidentifying someone, intentionally being the key word, I agree with you. But when you're having a conversation with me and you tell me you identify as they, and every time you tell me I follow up by calling you by the pronoun you suggested, but then later in the conversation I refer back to she or he, and then you correct me and I say they again, that shows you I am trying and just simply making mistakes. If I didn't give a shit about your gender, I wouldn't say they. I mean, why is this so hard to understand? Going back to the box, Brian Farrell, by the way, and I'm having abbreviated last, so I'm kind of giving you guys a little bit shorter.
My man, what's going on, buddy?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Right.
Tim. You know, I was in that live today, and that was completely 100% uncalled for. I thought that all those people attacking you, I wanted to go through the phone at them because I was like, that's not the handsome liberal that you've got him confused with someone who's intentionally trying to hurt your feelings. And I could feel the intent that you were not trying to hurt the feelings. But, brother, us being about the same age, I feel like you, man. I've been calling females her for 50 years. It's kind of hard at the snap of a finger to say they're a they, because they, to me, is when you don't know somebody's gender altogether. If you're talking about that group of people, they.
So let me ask you from your own personal take on it. If someone tells you they identify as they, and you call them they, but then slip up and call them she or he or whatever, and then they come at you from a hostility standpoint, how do you take it?
I would have did exactly what you did, man. You tried to correct the problem. They weren't having no part of it. They wanted to just keep digging their heels in, saying how you were misgendering and mistreating them. You know what? There was no mistreatment there. You didn't call them any derogatory names. There's plenty of derogatory names that the way those people acted that I probably would have called them.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely got cussed out. And I will say this. If I refer to a member of the LGBT community as a rag, starting with the letter F, you know what that means. Now, then that's a derogatory term. I could get that. But she or he was never in its history meant to be derogatory. So yeah, I don't get it. But I'm glad to see that someone finally understands where I'm coming from.
Well, you know, I'm as conservative as they get, man. And I truly believe that you're probably one of the most moderate, kind, decent individuals I've ever met on any internet platform ever. I kind of agree with 11 Butterflies. You're not going to find a sweeter man than the handsome liberal. He's going to let you have your piece. He's going to let you say what you got to say.
Did she really say that? Did she really say that?
Oh, she really said that, yes.
Wow. That's an honor. I appreciate that.
You know what? Wow. She's amazing too, though, brother. She's the same way. She don't block people. She don't moderate that. It's America. Let's have our freedom and have our say. But that group today, they were coming at you from all sides without even trying to give 1 inch of consideration that, hey, you know what? You're not a millennial. You're not fresh or green or wet behind the ears. We've been doing this long before they were even jumping nut to nut. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry, and I'm the same way, brother. If somebody says, call me they, me even being a conservative, I'm going to call you they. But if you act like an asshole, guess what? I'm going to call you an asshole. Because you don't have to be.
Let me say this, and you may not like me for saying this, and you know I love talking to my MAGA folks, but one of the reasons why us liberals suggested we got rid of Trump is for being an asshole. So I have to ask the LGBT community, if you didn't like it coming from the other side, why would you engage in the same rhetoric towards your own? I mean, are they not getting that?
You know what? I'm 100% behind you on that. And I've told you this before. Trump's biggest enemy was his stinking mouth. Cut his thumbs off, get him off of Twitter, keep his mouth shut, and we'd probably still be a prosperous country with a president that people would have voted for. But the same thing went down today with the LGBTQ community as what happened with Trump. You let your alligator mouth overload your parakeet ass, and now people got a bad taste in their mouth about that. You should never do that.
Yeah. And I don't think it helps the cause of the LGBT movement at all to do this to anyone, particularly someone that I continue to state was actually trying to accommodate the cause. I just was making mistakes in misidentifying the person. But I don't know, is misidentifying a person as a she that wants to go by a they, is that really that insulting?
Well, I mean, evidently, for the non-binary, non-gender, gender-specific, and all, I mean, I'm trying to keep up with all the names they want to be. It must be offensive, brother. I can't see it. If somebody's mistaken me Now, I'll be honest with you. You know, I got long hair, and my hair halfway down my back. And I know I got a round butt, okay? But I don't wear skin tight pants because I don't want somebody to say, look at that thing and smack me on the butt. Come on now. That would be misgendering because, you know, I got to hang you down. I'm a boy. But
oh my God.
I wouldn't want someone to come to me. It would be offensive to me. And we've had it in shop talk before. Well, you know, they say you're a little girl or look at her or something like that. That's intentionally picking at somebody. And I wouldn't take offense to that. But if I said, look, I'm a man, I want to be called a he, and somebody kept saying them, they, or her, I'd probably be offended too. But I'm going to give you a chance to correct yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
It'd be like me saying a handsome liberal is an ugly conservative. That would be a slight against you.
It's interesting you say that because they were certainly talking about my looks. They started calling me ugly and everything. So it's interesting you bring that up.
It flipped me out. I mean, I'm not gay by any means, but you're not an ugly man. You are a handsome liberal. I'm sorry.
All right, well, calm down before we both become part of the community. I gotta move it on, Brian.
Peace out, brother. Be good, my friend. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely a pleasure. Good talk. Catch you next time.
In the comments, Minnesota, what was that? Minnesota Pride Mama. Minnesota Pride Mama. I love the name, obviously indicating you are in favor of pride. So am I. However, if you want to come in the box, obviously you disagree with a lot of what I have said here. That's fine. I enjoy talking to the folks. Healthy dialogue, whether we agree or not, is always projected on this channel or promoted on this channel. So Minnesota Pride Mama, get in the box. I'll give you priority. I'll put you on the program. You can let me know where I'm getting it wrong. Going back to the box, we'll go to Hard Head Herbert. We're doing a more of a brief.
The callers along fast because I want to know where I'm getting this wrong. I want to talk to the folks. Hard Head, welcome back to the program.
Hey, my brother, how you doing today?
I'm in the trenches, man. I'm being attacked by a bunch of LGBT members. What did I do wrong?
It's like some people leave the house with their feelings on their shoulder, and it doesn't take much wind to make them howl.
Yeah, no shit. They're hollering a lot. It ain't even winter, and I'm just covered in snowflakes. It's not even winter yet.
But I've learned, and like I tell you, I'm a little older than you. I'm 65 years old, and I'm from Louisiana. And it's some things that we say y'all.
Understand.
I can be talking. Yeah, I be talking. I say y'all, and I'm talking, and everybody think I'm talking about a bunch of people. I'm talking to one person when I say y'all. You know,
well, let me ask you this: when you say y'all, has anybody ever told you that they were insulted by you using that pronoun? I guess and cussed you out.
No.
Okay. All right. I got cussed out, but okay.
This is the second thing. If they're down that way and somebody call them head shat, that's a country term when they say, you know, shat, and they calling you a little sweet name, a term of endurement. So you gotta adjust to where you at. If certain people want to be identified, they gotta learn to assimilate to give those people who not learned it yet to come on board if that's what they program are. But just to attack somebody for their own, I ain't gonna say ignorance, like they haven't hit the learning curve yet, they wrong. You know, and I was told a long time ago by my mother, she said, son, it's not what people call you, it's what you answer to.
I like that. I've heard that too. I've absolutely heard that. So, I mean, obviously you got a few years on me, but you also clearly grew up during an era where you didn't look what looked like a woman in the face and refer to them as they. So you understand how challenging it can be to suddenly adopt this pronoun to what we used to refer to as a woman.
Well, that used to be insulting to call a person they. It's like you nullified them or they became invisible when you say, well, they. It's like, who is they? I have an individuality about myself. My name is so and so, and this is who I am. You know, but some people, like I said, some people walk around looking for stuff to go off about, and it's like that's not that important. Now I'm gonna say like this: I wish they would keep that same smoke for Ron DeSantis who's writing bills about don't say gay.
Yeah.
He's openly attacking them. See, they jump on you because they know you're vulnerable, but they can't do nothing about Ron DeSantis. They can vote him out, but they'll put up with that, but they won't come. You know, it's just backwards the way folks think these days. You know, and they was messing with the wrong person. But do this for me. Breathe in the
Sure.
butterflies, blow out the bees. Don't let the people disturb you because some folks walk around with their hands balled up, like my ex-wife looking for a fight. She walk around the house with her fist balled up, and it didn't matter if it was the food or the temperature inside or whatever. I'd get the little stuff and plug in the wall to plug in. What the hell is that you plug in smell like that? Just looking for a fight because they're not happy with
I can
themselves.
get that. Well, the crazy thing is that this whole development took place because they, to get the pronoun correct, wants to become president of the United States and was promising to pursue the abolishment of police. Now, first of all, I'm gonna say something that's probably not gonna sound popular, but anyone identifying with the pronoun they in 2024 has no chance of winning the office. But in addition to that, they wants to abolish police. So you're going to show up saying, call me they, and I want to abolish police, and think that more than 5 people are going to vote for you? And I was trying to let this individual know, and I didn't criticize the pronoun at all, but I certainly criticized the notion or the idea of abolishing the police. And then the chat went off on me. Like I said, these are a lot of far left people. I'm fine. I thought I was around friendlies with liberals, but yeah, they didn't understand the notion that abolishing the police is extremely toxic for any politician to introduce.
Yeah, you as bad as they is, they serve a purpose to keep the peace.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the police, well then chaos about. As bad as they are, they need to be held accountable for their actions. Just like anybody else. They need to be held accountable. It's some things they need to have taken away from them, like that qualified immunity. They need to go to relaxation therapy where they learn to just relax. You ain't gotta be walking around on the job with your fist balled up, looking for a problem out in the world. But you can't really. I would say reallocate certain funds to certain areas because police have all this military equipment, and that's used for actually for war. For combatants.
Right.
But just a little everyday guy that maybe have done something kind of real bad, to go at him like he's Al Qaeda. Say, no, man, y'all got when 10 of y'all show up, he's outnumbered.
I get that. Yeah, and reallocating is a far better term than defunding or abolishing. But look, hardhead, I gotta move it on.
All right, my brother, you stay cool. Don't let them people bother you, man. They go. It just now, let me say this. When I was in school, we learned from English literature, and even it came up later on. You remember Schoolhouse Rock, where they say a noun is a person, place, or thing?
Yes.
But when does that have become so important? The pronouns. When did that show up on the scene? And just something else that somebody put in the Kool-Aid for them to fight over. Gotta relax, man.
Life too short.
Yeah, life too short to fight over that small stuff. Be good, my brother. God bless.
Absolutely. And I need talks like that. That man right there, I need talks like that. Appreciate the talk, hardhead. And of course, Minnesota Pride Mama, I understand you stated you cannot come in and do the lives. I see you are incredibly insulting to the comments I'm making. I'm not saying a damn thing right according to you. According to you, you were in the live as well on Adam Cray's page, and what I'm saying is simply not truthful. There are many other folks that are watching this live right now that were there as well, and they all seem to disagree with you. However, if you want to suggest that I was not truthful, type it in the comments. If you can't come on live, you can't come in the box. I make it clear I don't ban, I don't block, I don't censor anyone for a damn thing they say. Unlike Adam Cray's live, I don't do that here. And I don't expect you to come here with some type of specific energy, because that's what I was accused of in that live. Well, you're killing the energy. What, an opposing opinion kills your energy? I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings.
I don't know what the hell is going on with that. But yeah, if you want to type in the comments where I'm getting it wrong or how I'm being insulting to this person's pronoun, let me know. Let me know what I'm getting wrong. I'm willing to concede where I'm wrong or entertain being corrected where it can happen. But let me know what I'm getting wrong, because from where I stand, you're not making a lot of sense. Sean, too lucky. I think you're as fair as it gets, and I'm rightly. And I appreciate that, Sean. By the way, and I'll go right back to the box, but I will tell you this. Another thing I get from members of the far left community, and I'm going to feel that it's kind of safe to refer to who I talk to today as far left, is the fact that I enjoy talking to MAGA and liberals. And just simply talking to MAGA, particularly being African American, somehow makes me a sellout. And Uncle Ruckus and Uncle Tom. Since when are we so drawn to our own side that merely talking to others has become outlawed? The Liberal Party has continued and consistently criticized President Trump for being divisive. Yet, here I am in a room full of nothing but liberals promoting about as much division as I learned in math class. Going back to the box. I see the comment there, it's called.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. Okay, the only. Good afternoon.
Hey, what's happening? Yeah, so I've been listening for a while. I wasn't privy to the live you were in, but I have a couple of things
Okay.
I would let you know. I have
Sure.
a niece that wants to go by they, them, and I'm a 46-year-old Gen Xer, right? So
Okay.
I'm used to just saying whatever I want, whenever I want, and if you like it, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but as I've gotten older, I'm trying to accommodate people. But what I'm going to drop it back to you for is something that I immediately thought of when you said this. You're not used to it, right? So when I was in school, the word Ms. became popular. It was no more
Mm-hmm.
Mrs., right? So when we went into school and you called a teacher Mrs. Johnson, immediately she would clap back and say, "It's not Mrs., it's Ms." in an
Right.
angry tone. Right, right. So the reason why I'm saying that is because these people in particular have been marginalized or disrespected either in reality or in their mind for some time. So they have this pent up anger, and when you bump the trigger, they explode. And I don't even think that it's personal to you. I think that no matter who did it, they would react in that manner. So like, and I'm not excusing what they did. I'm just trying to give you a reasoning behind why I think that they
Well, let
behaved
me
the way
let me
that they did.
interrupt you and ask you this. Amy Tripp in the comments, because of this conversation, is suggesting that merely having this conversation that I'm promoting hate against the LGBTQ community. How do I do? Like, how am I promoting
No,
hate? Just having a dialogue about this? I just
no.
said one negative thing about the community. Go
Well,
ahead.
yeah, I wouldn't say that necessarily, but even though those people are in the group that you are identifying at the moment, many of those people that you're identifying were not a part of that. So, I mean, I can see that even potentially the way you're wording your debate at the moment, that some people could be offended by that. Like, I get it.
Give me an
So people
example.
can
Give me
be
an example.
so okay, so I'm a liberal and I didn't attack you. So now you just told everybody in your chat that liberals attacked you. I'm a part of that group liberal, but I didn't attack you. Do you see what I'm saying? Or what if I
Okay.
was a gay
Well,
man
and
and
that's
you know what I mean? Like,
fine. If I go to and that's true. If I go to a Trump rally with a Black Lives Matter T-shirt on it and I get my ass kicked, it's safe to say MAGA attacked me. Just because another guy in Louisiana that's MAGA says I wasn't at the rally, so you're insulting me by saying MAGA attacked me. No, I was attacked by MAGA.
look,
I was in a room
I'm
full
not
of
saying
liberals.
I completely agree with the notion. Again, I'm just trying to offer an explanation about why some
Okay.
people may
All
feel
right.
that way.
Fine.
Um,
Fair enough. Fair point.
and again, this is about in general. This is about sensitivity, right? So one of the things that I'm learning, having a man, I don't even make sure I'm using the right words, but having a niece in my family that is they them, like one of the things that I'm trying to do personally is instead of calling anybody he or she, I'm calling everybody they and them. So like if that's a problem for somebody, then but I'm saying that's because I'm getting older and my own ignorance is going to be on display anytime I hit something that's modern. And I'm younger than you are. So, you know,
But let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. Let's say we're friends, and I tell you, I need you to come over here, man. They got me on the ground. I mean, they beat my ass, and you show up totally prepared to help me in the fight. And when you get there, it's one old lady, and I'm like, get they off of me. Would you be like, this ain't what I was expecting? When you said you needed help, they
well,
beat
okay.
my
All right.
ass.
All
Would you
right.
expect
All
it
right.
more than one person?
All right. So here's what I would say to you about this. The best way to avoid this in general is if you're talking about a person in particular, use their name. You don't have to go back to they or them if you're like Susie is on top of me right now or whatever. So like if you're personal enough with someone that you actually know their pronouns, then you should be. I never use my niece's pronouns. I use her name when I'm talking to her. If I'm talking to someone, if I'm talking to you about her, see, I'm doing it already. I should say they, right? So, but I would use her name. I'm just not in your live because I feel like I would be doxing her, and that's just not the way I want to do things. But like, but even I'm ignorant of those things, and I'm trying to be respectful of them. So I feel like
Well,
in this
in the
space,
comments, let me interrupt you and say in the
right?
comments, I did use their name. And somebody even asked me in the comments, have I reached out? The person's name was Jazz. And somebody asked me, have I reached out to them since that's who I offended? No, I don't remember the person's last name, but yeah, definitely I did use that person's name. And then they told me, don't use their name. So I tried all of that, man. You get
Yeah,
listen,
maybe
for
you were
anybody who
just caught
watched
in a
my
mousetrap. You know,
huh?
I said maybe you were just caught in a mousetrap. Like
Yeah.
this is one of those things where like you couldn't win if you tried. You know, that like the damage was already done, and they weren't going to take even an apology as an acceptable form. Maybe I wasn't there. I didn't see that. I'm just like I find that I have to be sensitive to these people because I'm going to work like I work in the school system. So I'm going to have people that identify a way or another, and I have to use legally the whatever pronouns they suggest. But I never use any of that. I don't call any of my people he or her or them. I call them all by their name. It forces me to learn their name. And if I'm talking about Jack, I'm talking about Jack. And if that's not good enough for him, I don't know what else to do in that instance. Again, and I'm just trying to save the conflict where there doesn't really need to be one because even though you're not right in what you're saying, you are a person that would vote for their rights, so you're an ally
Yep.
they might not want to have,
100%.
but you're still an ally.
100%.
And it's just funny, and the way we'll identify ourselves even isn't necessarily correct. Like in the terms of in the terms of today's liberal party, I don't know that I would call you a moderate. I would think that like just and that's just my position. I think you're more of a conservative liberal these days, and maybe that's just because you grew into it over time. So and
Okay.
I'm the same way. I used to feel like I was on the left, and now I'm looking left and going, "Wow, man, that's a whole lot further than I am." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like, it's just one of those things, and people confuse the terminology a lot, and especially right now, like people don't realize that there can be liberal Republicans. Like that's just blowing your mind right now. You're like, "Oh my God, if you're conservative, if you're Republican." No, you're not.
Yeah.
Like
You know,
MAGA
things are.
tends to be radical, not
I
conservative.
will
Like
tell you this, and I do got to move it on, Jackie.
sure,
But I
sure.
will tell you this: the further the parties get into their corners, the more folks like me that want to distance themselves from the far portions of their parties. Just like you got a lot of Trumps or a lot of folks who voted for Trump that are saying, I don't want to go this far to the right, and they're meeting in the middle. So what happened to me in that live, that's not the part of my party I want to entertain. But I got to move it on, man.
All right, buddy. Have a great day, man. Take it easy.
Absolutely. Good talk. Good talk. And I'm just saying, and I still see folks in the comment section that unfortunately I suppose cannot participate in the lives that were there. And some of them were saying, listen, this didn't happen or that didn't happen or I'm wrong here or there. But at the end of the day, the entire reason why I engaged in conversation with that person was to suggest that their notion of abolishing the police was wrong. And they were so focused on me calling them she or her and attacking me for that standpoint that our conversation on abolishing the police was lost. It was all about you didn't call me the right pronoun. And I'm just thinking, and then of course, didn't stop that person from calling me all sorts of derogatory names and things like that. And despite all of that, I still tried to call them they a few times. I still tried to entertain
the pronoun that they were requesting. I made a hell of a lot of mistakes and referred back to her and she and all of that. But I definitely try. Let me say this also for folks who are new to this program. Some of you guys are here probably from Adam Cray's program, and I welcome you here. Anyone who has been following me for what almost is a year, almost at this point, knows that one of my core tenets on this program, in addition to not block, banning, or censoring my guests, is that I don't talk down to anyone. I get MAGA in here all the time. All of the libtard, all of those words, I get that stuff. And that is one of the core promises I make on this program every night, is I don't talk down to guests. So I'll be damn sure if I'm going to go to somebody else's live and participate in that activity. But when an individual is looking for negativity, that's what they shall find. Going back to the box, Dad's.
Yeah, but okay. Can I join you for a second, bro? John, send your request in the box. Dads, good evening.
Hey, handsome, thanks for having me on. You know what they used to say on the radio shows, long time, first time.
I like that. I'm glad to have you here. Don't be a stranger. What's on your mind?
So I regret, I was scrolling through lives. I saw that you and Jasmine and Adam were all on the live together, so I jumped in. I came in a few minutes late because I didn't, I caught the bulk of it, but I didn't catch the part around abolish or defund, right? So I missed that context. But
okay,
I'm happy to talk about that part of it. If there's more,
let's talk about what you heard. Tell me what you heard. You got any concerns with what you heard? But even if I'm wrong, tell me what you heard that you don't like.
No, I think the whole situation unraveled. I think the energy got to a point that it couldn't be brought back down to a conversation that was seeking understanding.
Elaborate. What do you mean by that?
Well, Adam got emotional and Jasmine became rigid, and even
what about me? Give me any insult you want to give me. How did I perform?
No, I'm getting there, right? Because I did hear I did hear you use her name, right? She aggressively addressed you, and you did use her name.
Define aggressively.
Oh, she was clapping back to you saying, they, them, I am they, them, I want you to use this.
Right.
My name is Jasmine, right? She was very aggressive in addressing you. And right, that's when I recognized that I missed the first part of the whole interaction where the emotion was raised on everybody's part, right? Because I did witness you use her name, but because the energy and emotion was so elevated in the room, every small mistake that you made in trying to use pronouns in the way that you thought you were asked to use pronouns, they immediately began jumping on you for, instead of trying to de-escalate the situation, they just stayed up there and kept attacking you rather than, and what was it, that one part where Adam, you were talking briefly and Adam continued to talk over you persistently with one question over and over and over. And I don't even remember what the question was. I thought that behavior was ridiculous. So I was disappointed to see three of my favorite creators together, hopeful to see a meaningful conversation and to come into a room and see that unfolding. I was disappointed.
You know, I have a lot of problems when I go off of my own live stream. Even though I talk to predominantly MAGA, there's still probably 20-30% liberals. And we have a very healthy program, so much so that I don't even really have to get a lot of moderation done here. I don't ban or have to block anybody. And the minute I go to somebody else's live, where I suppose these are lives, just like when I went to the live of Snacks, a right-wing live, where I think it's an issue where folks are hosting a live and they are only entertaining similar opinions. Because that's exactly what happened when I went into AJ or Snacks' live as well, is that these are lives where they're not really willing to listen to an opposing point of view. And yeah, anytime I go into a live like that, I get hammered.
Well, I saw that brought up in the chat during that live that you hold this kind of conversation, right? One on one. And the lives that you were talking about, they bring in one opposing voice and then people pile on. Oh, you made a mistake. So now we're going to call it out and we're not going to be forgiving or tolerant or attempt to teach or educate. It's just a piling on attitude. So I appreciate how you hold your platform so that, and how you interact with your guests, because everybody's thoughts are valid. Everybody's perspectives and ideas around these topics are valid. And having an honest discourse around them really really takes the temperature down around so much of the confrontation that takes place on these subjects.
And I absolutely agree. But listen, let me move it on. Appreciate you coming through, man. Hey, if this is your
Thanks for
first
having
time, yeah, generally I give folks about twice as much time, but I wanted to kind of move it on. Hey, don't be a stranger, man. Come on back. You're always welcome.
Thanks, brother.
Absolutely. Good talk.
Inherently black in the comments. Handsome, can you admit that you did kind of agitated the situation at a certain point? Inherently black, yeah, I can admit that. If you're someone who wants an individual to be correct on your pronoun 100% of the time, I fucked up. Yeah, I made all sorts of errors. I continued trying to correct it and kept slipping. So if that's what it took to agitate the situation, yes, absolutely. Now, me also suggesting that this presidential contender for the 2024 election was out of her damn mind, or I'm messing up again. But this presidential contender, me suggesting that they are out of their damn mind if they believe they have a chance in hell of winning by stating a core tenet of their campaign is to abolish the police. Well, that politician, meaning Jasmine, did not like that. If that's agitating the situation, paint me as guilty. But I will say that here, as I said over and over again on that program, defund the police or abolish the police, which is the heinous term that they were using, is a political campaign killer. Now, obviously, I'm being told by everybody in that live, well, you need to hear the definition. It doesn't mean get rid of the police, just like defund the police didn't mean this. It meant that. Nobody's trying to hear all of that bullshit. Just like when Trump said he was going to use that Mexico was going to pay for the wall. Now, his definition was that he was going to correct the unfair trade imbalance we have with Mexico and use that money to pay for the wall. That's the definition. Nobody hears that. They hear Mexico's going to pay for the wall, and they ran with that. And they buried them with it. The same way the liberals have been buried with the phrase defund the police. So for somebody to see all of that and follow up what they want to abolish the police, to me it just seems like suicide, political suicide. But maybe I'm wrong according to at least 300-400 liberals that were in that room. All right, going back to the box. Gubachi. I know I'm butchering this name, but cue me in.
Welcome to the program.
Yo.
Okay. What is the name?
Gabuchi, bro, you remember me, man. I'm the one that told you about the Trump prophecy movie.
Okay, I don't remember the name, the pronunciation of your name threw me off. But have you been listening to this program today?
Yeah, I mean, you fell into the LGBT trap, bro. It happens.
Elaborate.
Like, here's the thing, right? They like the LGBT community and those that support them. Sometimes they bait people.
I support them. Let me make it clear. I do support the LGBT community. Even after what happened today, I 100% am a supporter of that community. But go ahead.
I mean, you got to just simplify it for these folks, bro. Right? The L is just two women together. The G is two men together. The B is an individual that can be with a man or a woman, right? Whatever.
I like
Right?
that. Keep going.
The L, bro. The L is some freaky stuff, bro. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you're doing it with your girl, and then one day she just looks at you. She's like, man, I
Okay, all
wish I
right,
could
all
hold
right, all
on
right.
to
I don't want
these
you.
racks, right? You know what I mean? While you're in me, right? So he goes and he spends $10,000 on a set of racks.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
That
wait a minute. Let
person,
me respond to somebody in the comments
you
that
can
are
call
saying,
damn.
yeah, Kaka, I can't even pronounce the name. Kaka Mamo or somebody is saying that your conversation is sounding hateful. No, I actually, the way you describe those acronyms, a woman that loves a woman, a man, I'm under the impression that that's true. It's not being hateful. And see, that's where I think the problem is that the community, so to speak, is presenting themselves as untouchable. Folks can ask you about your community or what means what. This stuff is all new to some of us older people. Why shouldn't we be able to ask questions? I mean, is it really that wrong to have a healthy dialogue with a straight
Nah,
person?
nah, the handsome. They're not coming for you, bro. They know me. All right, I'm Gabucci. The LGBT community has a love-hate relationship with me. All right.
Okay, all right.
But the thing is, bro, somebody that wants to be called they, them, their, you know, did you pay for the surgery? Did you take a trip to wherever you need to take a trip to? Did you pay that $10,000 for those great set of racks? Even though
Okay,
you were
what do you
gay.
mean by that though? What are you getting at?
I'm just trying to say, bro, if they actually went and paid for the surgery, got themselves some titties, right?
So let me ask you.
Then you
Don't
could
get too
then you
crazy.
could say
Hang on a
they
second.
them.
Don't get too crazy, man. I don't want you or I to get banned. But let me ask you this question: if an individual that appears to be, I guess, a female, but was born a man, do you have to have surgery to identify as the other gender? Is what I'm
No,
asking you. I understand what the LGBT community would say,
no.
but in your response, are you suggesting that they have to have surgery to cross over?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, handsome. Right? When an individual that has not had the surgery tells you that you have to refer to them as they didn't pay to play.
Well, what
They
is?
want you to
Wait a minute.
deny.
How do
They
you?
want you to
Okay,
deny
wait a minute.
your
Wait a minute.
eyes.
If I personally, my handsome mug wants to be referred to as they, what kind of a surgery do I need to have? What are they going to do to my body?
Bro, here's the thing, right? You want me to call you a she, bro, and I can clearly
No,
see
no,
that you're
no,
a dude.
no. We didn't
So
say
you want me
she.
to
We
deny
said
my eyes?
they. We didn't say she. We said they.
They? How you gonna call somebody they, bro? How many people in this person?
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. I don't understand this. I'm here to get educated. I don't understand it. I'm trying to get on board. I can't answer your question because I don't know.
I mean, from now on, bro, handsome, I want you to refer to me as we. You know what I mean? Because there's a the entire
Let
population of
you
Texas.
go. You gonna hurt my jaws today, man. Come on back to when we talking politics. Catch you later. He killing me. He killing me, Smalls. All right. That was getting close. His humor was so strong. I had to let the man go and make about it, sir. You're always welcome back, but your humor was killing me, and I'm trying to keep these guests on the hook. This is a sensitive topic, and you was tearing it up. You was killing them. All right, let me go. And I see folks saying losing respect. Fair enough. And listen. Looking in the comments here, though, getting educated via TikTok. That's why Trump tards are so mentally challenged. I don't know where to go. My World 064. I'll go back to the box in a minute. I don't know where to go to get educated on this subject. Because I can talk to members of the LGBT community here, and they may say something totally different than someone in front of me. I can talk to members of the LGBT community and make a mistake and call them he or him, or she or her, when they want to be referred to as they, and they might not be as insulted as Jasmine was earlier. So just being candid with you, being humble and honest, I don't know where to go to get educated.
Is there like an LGBT university to go to? I know it sounds ridiculous. I know it sounds sarcastic. Maybe it is to a degree. But where do you go? Just like there are African Americans, such as myself, that is not offended by being called black. I don't even find it very offensive to be called colored. As long as you don't use the N word, I'm not really offended by that other stuff. But other folks might kill you if you call them colored. So where do you go to get a proper education on how to refer to someone that is my skin color? Same thing with the LGBT community. And I was trying to make that audience in that live understand I'm an ally. Yeah, I'm fucking up. I'm misappropriating your pronoun, but I'm trying. If you look at the dialogue between me and they, to get their pronoun correct, I refer to that individual as they probably a half dozen times. I probably use her and she more, but clearly I was trying. When the individual said, call me they, I responded with they. And then during the course of the conversation, I referred back to she and her. I'm looking at your pictures when I'm communicating with you folks. That's why I like talking to the folks. Your pictures come up. And when I see you there and you make a comment, I'm going to probably say she or he because that is what I'm thinking. It's like coming from a foreign country and living in America. You may speak English, but in your mind, you're thinking of images and sentences and conversations in your native language. It just takes for you to translate it in your mind and then say what's out. Sometimes you may slip and call a fruit the term in your native language because that's how you were taught. That's what I was trying to do. Why the LGBT community is so punitive, for lack of a better term on this, when I was actually trying, I don't get it. Going to the box for Out of the Matrix.
Live, because I want to get to as many folks as possible. It's a little different for me. Good afternoon, Out of the Matrix. Welcome back to the program, friend of the program.
Hey, how's it going, man?
I don't even know, man. Can I call you that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I've been catching the program today. I didn't get to see that live, but based on the feedback I'm hearing from those in the comments and what you're saying happened, if this person's running for office and they get triggered by something like that, I'd hate to see them on a debate stage.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Continue.
Yeah, and as for the LGBTQ community, I don't think that everyone in that community. I think like if you look at least I'm an '80s baby, so if you look at like the gays and lesbians coming up through that era, I feel like their movement, and I feel like they feel like their movement has been hijacked by this radical element of the community. And you see that on these TikToks, right? You have gays and lesbians speaking out in regards to how they feel like their movement that was just for equality was hijacked by a bunch of crazies. I mean, the idea that, this whole obsession with pronouns is just mind blowing to me. I will never get behind it. I will never abide to it. And if you feel disrespected by it, well, I mean, tough shit. That's, it's the world we live in.
Well, I don't want to go. Yeah, see, I don't want to endorse that. I'm fine working with their pronouns. I just want them to be patient with me as well. The world is changing. I mean, there are plenty of folks like yourself that's not on board with the changes at all. I'm willing to admit I'm willing to take this down the road that they're leading me to. It's just going to take me time. It's like Hansel and Gretel. Allow a brother to drop a few breadcrumbs. I need to know where I'm at. And they're not giving me that time. They're yanking my hand and saying, just come go with me. I don't know how to get back if I go down that road.
You don't. That's the problem. You don't get back once you go down that path. It's just, it's amazing to me with all the problems we face as Americans that such a large swath of our population are so obsessed. They're willing to try to cancel people, mess with their livelihoods and everything else because they don't abide by it. It makes you wonder who are the true fascists because you hear the political left, they claim that, the MAGA movement are a bunch of fascists and this and that. But I don't see MAGA out here trying to shut people down for a difference of opinion to the point that it impacts their livelihood or ability to do business or just live their life the way that they want to. One of the, some of the main tenets of fascism come from the people that you were in that live with yesterday. and the things that they represent.
Well, I don't know if I'll agree with the notion that MAGA won't shut people down for difference of opinion. How many political careers have Trump ended from his own side because they differ with him on the election, for instance? He's ended, I mean, how many politicians that would have almost certainly won, think Liz Cheney, for instance, if
Yeah,
they had simply agreed with President Trump? So I don't agree with you on that. Trump does not like
I'm
an
talking about the
opposing opinion
population.
either.
Yeah, to me, that's politics, right? When you don't agree with a politician, you're not going to endorse them. You're going to go after them with everything but the kitchen sink. I'm talking about the population, the MAGA movement, the people within that movement, and then like the people within that live that you were in, and the many other millions like them around the country right now. I've never seen a push on social media for the MAGA population of our country trying to get people's accounts shut down, trying to censor what they think, believe, and
What did
feel.
you think? Wait a minute, wait a minute. What did you think the gallows and the call for the execution of Mike Pence? What do you think they were trying to do?
They were certainly threatening. They were certainly threatening the man. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I would think so. They even had the device there. It's one thing to say you want to take my life. It's another thing to show up with an actual gallows at my crib. I think you're downplaying that one.
Yeah, no, I'm so you would think you're in here with MAG all the time, right? That's pretty much the
Right,
premise of most of the lives I've been on. I've
right.
never I've never seen in the comments, at least in my experience, and I've been on quite a bit of your lives, I've never seen the hate and vitriol when you stand your ground from your liberal viewpoints that we
That is true.
experience on
That
the
is
other
true.
side.
Yeah.
And I mean, look,
I
for
can't
instance, you're
disagree
an
with that.
ally.
I
You're an
can't disagree
ally
with
that was
that.
alive, and look how you
Yeah,
got treated today by
yeah.
your own side, so to speak.
But I will tell you this though, if you look at the very first video on my profile, all of those little videos we do here on TikTok, my very first one is me being cursed out by MAGA for a difference of opinion. So there are plenty of right-wing lives that do not entertain dissenting opinion either.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree with that to a certain extent, but like with this whole, I guess we'll get back to the whole pronouns thing. Like what I mean, I guess my thought, and maybe I'm ignorant, maybe I'm just too old and I'm stuck in my ways. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that might be the case. But here's my thing. I view the people who hold that so near and dear to their heart that they're willing to try to attack people's livelihoods. I view those people as like almost like a coddled child. But to me, they have a mental illness. And for too long, they've been like, there's a unicorn right here in front of me. And there are people that clearly know there's not a fucking unicorn right there that coddle them and say, yeah, I see the unicorn. And we've let it get out of control to the point now that they just expect it. Like a spoiled child in the middle of a Walmart, stomping their hands and feet, saying, I want a toy. Like I will never get behind that, man. Ever, 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 ever.
Fair point. All right, I got to move it on, Matrix.
All right,
Trying
man.
to do
Thanks
it a
for
little.
having me.
Hey, anytime, don't be a stranger, man. Always good to.
Matrix. Looking in the comments real quick, he's an acorn. I don't know what an acorn is. They might as well name the group Bullies of TikTok. I certainly got bullied today, folks. Your humble correspondent. I like to get on here and talk to the folks. I'm fine with folks who want to point out issues where I get things wrong. Like I just said a moment ago to that previous caller, my very first video on my profile is a caller cussing me the hell out. So it's not like I'm not used to folks disagreeing with me. I was willing to put it up as the very first video on my page. So that's not the issue. I'm just confused being an ally. And that was MAGA, by the way. The guy cursing me out on my TikTok page is MAGA. What confused me in this one and why I'm really talking about it is because this is what I normally would consider to be an ally. I'm pro-LGBT. I don't have a problem with the LGBT community. LGBTQIA. Forgive me for missing some of the letters, but I don't have a problem with them. And I'm just simply admitting that while getting adjusted to the new pronouns, I made mistakes and I'm likely to make mistakes in the future. But I won't insult you. I don't find that mistaking you as a he or him or her or she is an insult. It's a mispronunciation of sorts, but it's not an insult. I mean, if you call me Shaq, because I'm big and black. I'm a 6'6" black guy with a bald head. I don't find being called Shaq insulting when my name is Tim. It's not meant to be that way. And no matter how I try to explain that, the individual wanted to feel insulted. And the entire audience, which was, my guess is, overwhelmingly liberal, wanted to paint me off as somebody who was trying to insult that person. And it was just not the goal. John Rudolph, 618, a new caller, I believe. Nevertheless, welcome to the program, John Rudolph. If the TikTok here will stop spinning and let this caller come through. One love, united we stand. I like that statement there, Robert Bankston. I like that. That's what we should have. Amen. MAGA is fascist, says Mufasa. 12022. Let's see.
Next election. John Rudolph. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up? I'm doing good, man. Have you been listening in?
I've been listening to this one, and I came in on the live earlier.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because like somebody was saying earlier, I saw you on there, I saw Adam there, and I was like, oh, this is going to be an interesting live. And so I checked in. What happened, in my opinion, it was just emotion. You know, I don't understand what she was, not she, my bad, what they were so upset about. But I did hear you say her, she, they, them. Okay, and
Yeah.
Jasmine said, refer to me as they, them, or Jasmine. But as she was saying that, or as they were saying that, there was three other people talking. You had Adam talking, you had Patrick Genty talking, and then there was somebody else in another box that was also talking, and along with Jasmine. So you had four people talking to you at one time, and that's where I think the miscommunication came from, was from you just hearing everybody.
And
And
that's an interesting point. I'll just add, that's an interesting point. That is one reason why on my live streams you will never see more than one person in the box. That's to prevent that whole conglomeration of people talking over each other. But go ahead.
yeah, you had four people in the box. Everybody is going
I'll give you a minute.
at it. Jasmine
Say that
did
again.
say, refer to me as they, them, not he, she, or her, or whatever, and you tried your damnedest to comply with that. And when
Right.
I saw that, and but anytime you would make a slip, they were on you. There
Yeah.
you go again. There you go again. You couldn't get two words in, and I didn't think that was fair, because
Yeah.
like you said, it's like teaching somebody to walk. You know, you can't just let them go and
Yeah.
fall. You got to hold their hand a little while. You got to hold their hand for a little bit to get them where they got to go. You know, there is no LGBTQIA university. Unfortunately, my sister, I have two lesbian sisters, which is where I get my education from, because I have to come to them and ask them stuff. Because me personally, I heard you in the live earlier say you were 50 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 44, so I don't have the understanding of all this as well. So I've caught myself and been caught saying things that are now considered slurs. You know,
Right.
but
Right.
coming up,
I never would have thought.
that
Yeah.
was
I never would have. Yeah. I never would have thought I'd see the day we're calling somebody who looked like a woman a she to be insulting. I never would have thought I would have seen a day for that.
right. And see what I'm saying? Growing up, and I have that. I do that in public, in real life. I'll walk up to somebody at a store, and they look feminine to me, and just out of respect, because that's how I was taught. If they're the cashier at the store I'm at or whatever, yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. If it looks like it could be a male, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You know, that's just how I was raised. That's how I was brought up. I don't mean any disrespect by it. I don't mean to offend anybody by it. It's just me using the manners that I was taught. And
Right.
if I'm wrong, I don't have a problem being corrected. And that was another thing I saw that kind of made me angry when I was watching that live was the fact
How
that
do
you
you feel
said
about this?
that.
Let me interrupt you.
Uh-huh.
Let me interrupt you.
Yes, yes,
Let me
sir.
interrupt you and ask you this. User guy in the comments said, "Looked like a woman, talked like a woman, and had a woman's name," which is all
Right.
true.
Um,
What do you do with that?
I automatically assume that that's how you present yourself. And and I also do understand where they come from partially because, as you see, my name is John, but I like to go by CJ. It's just a preference for me, so I understand that, and so I kind of get that because I check people on it all the time because I'll be like, don't call me by my government name. You don't know
Okay.
me by John, and for real. So, because I'll get people like on Facebook or whatever that'll be like, "Hey, John," and I'm like, you ain't never called me John in your life. You've always called me CJ. So why now are you calling me John? So, but when you're dealing with somebody that you don't have an intimate relationship with, you don't really know their boundaries. So it is on them to set those boundaries, but do it in a reasonable way. You don't have to be an asshole. You don't have to be a dick about it. You can generally just say, hey, this is me. This is what I like. Please respect my boundaries. And it's that simple. There's no need to go on to a rant about it and go into this big old fit because that's what I saw earlier. It was a lot of childishness on a part of Patrick Gentry with the name calling and all that. You just don't need to say, oh, he's Uncle Ruckus, or you call yourself handsome and look at your face. All that shit, that's bullshit. That's kid shit.
Yeah.
We are supposed to be
Yeah,
adults.
I'm used to that though. I get that all the
Even
time.
though
But listen,
there's a kids app,
okay.
even though
Well,
this is a
listen, I
kids
gotta
app,
move it
we are
on.
adults on it.
Fair
All right,
enough.
I
I
appreciate
gotta
you for
move it
having
on
me
though,
on.
man. Anyway,
Yes,
anytime,
sir.
anytime.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Looking in the comments, somebody said F their pronouns. I won't.
And what does I say? Freedom vibes. I won't say F their pronouns. I'm willing to entertain and engage in a dialogue that they prefer. I'm just simply asking, like the previous caller was suggesting, that you give us time. Someone stated that among the folks in the box, someone in that group is trans. I want to talk to that person. Someone let me know out of the individuals that are in the box waiting who is representing the T of the LGBT community. I'd like to know that. Milo, are you Milo? Let's go with Milo. I want to speak to Milo for obvious reasons. Milo, let me know what the hell I'm getting wrong, and I invite
Milo, talk to me. Good afternoon.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. You identify as trans, am I
Yeah, I
correct?
do.
Okay. What am I getting wrong?
So, okay, first of all, I usually don't really talk about it like in real life. Like I only really talk about it
Okay.
on TikTok for lives and stuff like this. But like I just want to say I completely agree with everything you have said on this live. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I
thank you.
it's so weird. I feel like a lot of people think all trans people think the same way, which definitely isn't true. And even then, like you've said, I've seen a lot of liberals or like trans people like cursing people out for getting their pronouns wrong, and I'm like, that's not how you do it. Like, I feel like the enormous majority of people aren't trying to be rude if they did misgender you, and like even if they are, sucks to suck. They have their opinions, you have yours. Like, you just might not agree, and that's totally fine. Like, I don't know. I feel like so many people will create so many unnecessary drama. Like you said, like if someone accidentally called you Shaq earlier, like you wouldn't be insulted because, like, yeah, like tall black man. Like if somebody
Yeah.
called me a woman, I don't identify with that, but like I'm not gonna like flip shit because someone called me a woman. Like, I mean, that's not me. But if you want to call me that, cool. Like I don't really care.
So to prevent me from okay, I mean I'm asking, you can tell me to go to hell where I'm at. If I'm asking a question that you don't want to answer, that's fine. You were biologically
Fem-
born woman. Go ahead.
Yeah, born female,
Okay.
transition.
And you identify now as male. He,
Yeah.
him?
Yeah. Which is why I
Okay.
wanted to talk about what you were talking about with the last guest, where you were talking about if someone looks like a woman, sounds like a woman, has a woman's name, you're going to call that a woman, which, like, yeah, Obviously.
Yeah.
I feel like that's crazy that some trans people get so bent out of shape about that, where it's like, I have transitioned, like I've had surgeries, I've done hormones, and it's been years and years since a stranger has called me a woman that's met me. Like, since a stranger has met me, that they've called me a woman. But there was a time when everyone did that because I looked and sounded like one. And it's like, how could I get mad about that because I looked and sounded like a woman? Like, I didn't identify with that and it made me a little bit sad, but like, how could I possibly blame them for
Yeah.
that? Because they look and see
So
me.
in this political climate, not to be insulting, but you could be referred to as a moderate trans. I
I
mean,
know, and that's the crazy thing too. Like,
yeah,
the fact
yeah,
that I won't like cuss people out or lose my shit for having like the most, I feel, mundane and reasonable opinions is like crazy to me. Where I'm like, yeah, if you address someone how they look, or if you make a mistake, like even if you do know someone's trans, like when I came out to my friends and family, if I had $1 for every time the people that loved me, the people that loved and adored me as their family and friend, they made a mistake, and I know they love me so much, I would still have hundreds of dollars. And that's
wow.
just because it's a learning process, and
Right,
that's totally fine.
right.
Like, it's not always malicious, and even if it is, they have their beliefs, you have yours, and you're never going to agree with everyone. And if you lose your mind over that stuff, you're just always going to be unhappy and combative with people. So it's like, I have my beliefs, you have yours. As long as you're not trying to kill me or start some crazy shit, like, that's fine. Just like, I don't know, I feel
Perfect.
like people lose.
Absolutely perfect. I'll just say Milo for the win, man. All right, sir. I don't want to. Like I said, but Milo for the win. I feel, even though you're only one person, I feel very validated to hear you being part of the community. At least see some light in what I was going through and dealing with. So I do appreciate you coming through.
No, yeah, and it makes me like so mad when I see lives like that where someone misgenders a trans person either on accident or on purpose, or just, God forbid, disagrees with a trans person, and then they just
Were
lose.
you in that live? Were you in that live?
I was not. I'm just talking about in
Okay.
general. But
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I
Fair
I
enough.
hate when I see lives like that, and then I see a trans person like lose their mind because I'm like, no, you make all of us look really, really stupid right now.
My point. My point exactly. That's the whole purpose of the live was for me to say that I'm an ally, and when you do stuff like that, you do turn people off when you just attack folks. But listen, Milo, I got a family issue. I got to get off of here. So I do look. My program is a lot of MAGA, so I don't necessarily know if you want to follow, but you are always welcome here.
No, I'll totally
100%.
follow. Again, my political beliefs definitely aren't what people generally would assume of a queer person. I don't talk about
Oh,
it, but like the whole
oh,
is like,
okay, okay. Well, don't be a stranger. Come on back through here anytime. I'll give you priority in the box for a minute.
absolutely. Again, thank you so much for having me. I wanted to drop.
Absolutely. Absolutely a pleasure. Absolutely a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah,
Go
thank
ahead.
you. Have a good one, man.
Okay. All right. Good talk. Good talk. Okay, listen, folks. I got to run for a minute. I got to take somebody to the. I got a medical issue going on here, but I'll be on at 7 o'clock as usual. We'll be talking probably about a different subject, but I wanted to hear from the folks on this, which is why I decided to do this program. And as you can see, as usual, I don't ban, I don't block, I don't censor. Even the insulting comments in the dialogue for folks who couldn't come live, I tackled your comments. I don't talk down to guests. I want to hear all your opinions, regardless of what political side of the aisle you are on. So just wanted to point that out. You see how I run this program here. It would make no sense for me to go to someone else's program and portray another individual. Once again, I got to go. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. I will catch you guys in the lives in a couple hours.